I'm going to push record for those that aren't on yet. Welcome, Steph. I'm so excited to have her. We met here in Orlando, actually, at the last Super Saturday. We had her do the guest panel for us, and it was amazing, and it's been really fun to kind of get to know her. She's doing the reset like I am, so we might both be a little cranky, but it's fine. She lost 10 pounds in 10 days, by the by, on that, so there's that. So she is a 5-star elite coach. She actually was in the last Super Saturday video. Her story was a feature in it, which was super cool because then we got to be like, we have a rock star celebrity at our Super Saturday, and then she went up on stage right after her video. It was really fun. But she was number 2 in the Latino market, which I'm going to have her explain because I didn't even know that was a thing. And that's super cool. She's an organization leader. She's hit Success Club 34 months in a row. She's a Success Club Legend 10, which is a big deal. It means she hit Success Club 12 months in a row at 10 points or more. She's also an emergency doctor, which I like because she's super busy. And if she can do all of these things, then none of us have any excuses. And her boyfriend does this full time with her, which I'm going to let her talk about too, because I know the spouse thing is kind of an issue and a hot topic right now. And we talked a lot about that at our Super Saturday. So I'm going to have her talk about that. She loves traveling like I do, which I didn't know, but that's exciting. She's traveled a lot of places, as have I, and she loves ice cream, which I also do if it has Oreos in it. So here's all these reasons why I love Steph, but I'm just going to ask her some questions like we do on these guest panels, and then I'm going to open it up to a Q&A in the chat, and I hope you guys have your pens and papers because you guys know what's my line. Smart people take notes, right? So I'm going to have her tell her story for a few minutes and just kind of share what she wants to about that, how she got started, that kind of stuff, and then I'm going to grill her about some other stuff. So let me just make sure you can unmute yourself.
I'm here. I can unmute myself.
All right. Take it away.
Awesome. All right, guys. Can you guys hear me okay? Awesome. Well, first of all, I want to thank Jace for inviting me. I mean, she to me is someone that I look up to very much so, and you know, just amazing to have her so close and so close to us here in Orlando, in the Orlando Kissimmee area. Well, I just wanted to quickly kind of give you guys a little insight into how I became a coach and why I became a coach. I think I get that a lot, especially as a physician. Why did I decide to go into something like this, like network marketing, and why did I want to do something to add extra income into my home? And so when I signed up back in July of 2013, and at that time, I was smack in the middle of my residency. So for all of you guys who don't know what residency is like, it is like hell. It's 60 to 70 hours a week of working. I was a resident at Harvard in Boston, and I was tired. I was overweight. I didn't have any energy, and none of my clothes fit me. So I wear scrubs for a living. Even now, that's my uniform. I wear scrubs and sneakers, and it's pretty awesome, especially because I don't like wearing heels, and it's just, I have really flat feet and really big flat feet. It's just really uncomfortable for me to wear heels. And so I get to wear sneakers all the time, for both of my jobs, right? And so when back in 2013 in July, I had gone to, I had been wearing scrubs, and then all of a sudden I had a whole closet full of clothes that no longer fit me. And I don't know how many of you can relate to that, having clothes in your closet that no longer fit you. And it was just absolutely horrifying to me. And I had always battled my weight. I was an overweight child. I was overweight in high school. I was overweight in college. I had gained like that freshman, I had gained the freshman 20 to 30 pounds in college. And so the highest that I ever was 200 pounds, which for those who don't, I'm 5'8", so I'm tall. So I held it well, but nothing fit me, size 13, 14. And I was just completely devastated. So I've always battled my weight. And so when this came across me, basically, I was busy and I needed something that I could do from home. And so T25 had just come out. And I was like, I could do this. Like, this is only freaking 25 minutes a day. Like, who doesn't have time for 25 minutes a day? And so I remember I had I used to come home after work and scroll on Instagram and on Facebook looking for inspiration. I was that girl that would spend hours just kind of looking for quotes, looking for inspiration, looking at before and afters. And I remember thinking, wow, look at all these girls. Like, I could do this. I could create an ebook and I could have a transformation. And I remember thinking that I wanted to do it and I didn't know how. And so when I heard about Beachbody, and mind you, I had only heard about it because I had heard about it through the Insanity. I had Insanity. We had it bootleg, I will say. We ripped it. And I could see they were talking about, being a Beachbody coach. And I was like, oh, that seems pretty cool. But I didn't know anyone who was a Beachbody coach. Like, no one was coming across my newsfeed. No one that I knew was a coach. And so I remember one day this girl came up to me right when I was thinking about T25. And she said, Stephanie, I see that you posted like a couple photos on nutrition. You would be an awesome coach. And I literally thought like God was talking to me, like literally. Like I was like, oh my God, this is like my confirmation that I need to be a coach. Literally, because I had been thinking in my head how I want to do this. So use this example for all of you who get really skeptical to want to approach people, because you never know. All I needed was one person to confirm that I would be a great coach, and I was like all in. And so I started as a coach. I started as a discount coach, and literally that lasted for like 20 seconds, where I was like, this is going to be a discount. All of a sudden, I've always been a big dreamer, right? Who I believe in vision. I believe in vision boards. I believe in dreaming humongous and pushing yourself to reach those goals. I mean, that's how I became a doctor. I had known since I was 7 that I was going to be a doctor. Having that vision is something that I've always had in my life. And so as soon as I became a coach, I was like, oh my God, wouldn't it be awesome if I could like have a platform with like 100,000 people following me, and I could use this to educate and to inspire and motivate? And wouldn't it be awesome if I can help 2 or 3 people? And wouldn't all of a sudden all of these big ideas came, and never once did I think, no, this cannot be possible. It was only, okay, what do I need to do to figure this out so I can make this happen? And so I was that coach that hit the floor running. I started posting from the very beginning. I went from never posting on my social media to like that, posting 3 to 4 times a day and bombarding my friends and family with posts of me working out, smiley, sweaty, right before my shift, I should say. And I had about 1,000 friends on Facebook. So I did have a little bit of a buffer on Facebook in terms, but I had no Instagram at the time and no other social media platform. I only had Facebook, and I started posting very aggressively. And so little by little, people started approaching me, asking me what I was doing. And so that's kind of how I got started. And, what has now, that was 34 months ago, I started back in July 2013. And so I've never missed a month of Success Club. I have grown a team to over 1,000 coaches. All of my coaches are all over the country. And so I do not grow necessarily locally, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I actually sometimes wish I had more local coaches, but because I've grown predominantly on social media, I have coaches all over the country. And so that was never kind of, I was someone that I knew that I would have to, expand my reach, because I knew that with 1,000 friends, I was not going to build a huge business with 1,000 friends. That was just kind of my mindset from the very beginning. So yeah, that's a little bit kind of about how I started. So
I love it. Just so you guys know, like on her life page, I think, what do you have? Like 13,000 or is it 18,000? I can't remember.
It's 32,000.
She's 32,000. I'm sorry. 32,000 people following her on
14,000 on Instagram.
Yeah. So she's got a killer social media game. So she's somebody who would be rocking to follow on that. And I love that because her story is very similar to mine. I hit the ground running like she did, had no social media, nothing. I'm telling you guys, if you just let your passion preach your purpose and you've got a strong vision, then you can get shit done. So I want to talk to her about a few things. So I love asking coaches what their biggest obstacle they face is. And I usually like to ask you what your current obstacle is that you're facing. but you can either talk about one of the bigger ones that you've faced in your business since you started, or what you're facing now. Either way.
Okay. So I think that my biggest and my current are kind of still probably one and the same. And so I think because of my personality, I would say that my biggest obstacle has been, number one, having patience in this business, and number two, not setting realistic expectations of how to work with people and what, kind of working with others. And so let me talk about that. So I'm an emergency medicine physician. I've gotten to where I am based on solely my hard work, and I work my ass off. Okay. And whatever I put my mind to, I go for it 150%. What I've had to realize is that not everyone has that same drive and that same work ethic. And it has killed me. Like, when I say it has killed me, like, it has brought me to tears. It has brought me down where I ask myself, is this worth it at times? Sometimes when you're pushing so hard, it has brought me to doubt if this is for me. And sometimes I've never thought about quitting, but I've always, sometimes when you reach that rock bottom, which sometimes, Jace knows what that's about, where when you have a team and you just push so hard and you can't make other people do the work, and you have to be willing to work with the willing, and you kind of have to let go and let God, is how I kind of look at it. And that's been hard. It's been incredibly hard for me. And I think it's been my biggest obstacle, because I'm a very positive person. I'm a very hard worker. I'm a hard worker. I'm very optimistic. But just realizing that that number one, I need to meet people where they are. Number two, I cannot fall in love with someone else's potential. Like, I can't fall in love with their potential if they won't fall in love with it themselves. And that's been really hard, because how many of you have come across people who would be awesome coaches, or who just would be so amazing if they believed in themselves? And you can't make, or they're giving you every excuse in the book of why they can't make this work, because of self-doubt, because of work, because of all these other excuses. Honestly, they're excuses, because we see in our business, we see in any business, first of all, any business, not even Beachbody, not even network marketing, any business, when you pursue something that you love with passion and with drive, you will make it happen no matter what are the obstacles around you. And so for me, that has been incredibly difficult. And also just working with other people. Like I said, I've had to lead others, and realizing that I have to be willing, I only work with the willing. And that's been, obviously that's been tough, because I want to help everyone, but I also, as my team grows, I also have to be protective of my time. And so it's just been really that obstacle of kind of being patient, and obviously, of course, in terms of the being patient, not letting comparison seep in, right? Comparison steals joy, right? And so at every stage of this game, that nasty little negative thought is going to want to come in. It's going to be pushing to come in, where it's going to say, you're going to look all around you and you're going to say, what is everyone else doing that I'm not doing? Or how is it that this team or this girl is soaring past me and I'm not getting the same results? It's hard. It's really, really hard. And so those have been my obstacles, which are, allowing myself to be patient with how my team is growing, knowing that I want to push harder. I want to race faster. If it was up to me, I'd be working till 3:00 every morning. And I know not everyone can do that. And so it's just having that patience and realizing that I have to meet people where they are. I can't fall in love with someone else's potential. They have to fall in love with them themselves, and working with the willing.
I love that. I like asking people that question, because I think that it doesn't really, like you said, it doesn't matter what level of your business you're in. Like, we all face the same things. It may be like in a different capacity, but it's all relative to what we do every single day. And I think I had the same thing with just the work ethic of other people. Like, I think all of us just sort of assume that everybody works the same that we do until you start working with other people and immediately realize that that is not at all the case. And it's very difficult. I'm a lot like-minded, like Steph, when you're very like hardcore business driven, to have the patience, but also to really like dial yourself down to a more relatable level, because as leaders, all of you guys know, you have to set an expectation from the get-go and protect your time, like Stephanie was talking about. And if you have no boundaries, which is very easy, at least for me, to not create, because I don't like boundaries. I don't like people holding me back. I would also work till 3 a.m. and have done that a lot of times. But I think it takes great strength as a leader to really admit, that there are also issues with that, like working too much. You don't set expectations with your team. You don't give them a schedule because you're not focused on it. So I think really just, like Steph said, learning how to work with other people is a constant, like, okay, I'm back down to ground zero, like constantly, because everybody's different. Everybody has strengths. Everybody has weaknesses, and nobody's are exactly the same. And so it's actually awesome because it's a great way to learn more about yourself. It's a great way to become a better leader if you can be in tune enough with that process instead of letting it kind of beat you up and get you down. And it goes for the same thing with comparison, which we talk a lot about. So I wanted to just ask her this next question because I think it kind of goes in line with that, which is the mindset. Just the mindset that it takes to really accomplish your goals and having that really strong vision of what you ultimately want to be doing full time. Meaning, like, do you want to be constantly in the grind, like working till 3 o'clock in the morning, or do you eventually want to get to a point where you've got a well-oiled machine that's working for you and you get to do the fun stuff, like helping people and getting the transformations, and all the other things are kind of worked out. So I wanted to have you talk about just sort of your mindset and what kind of mindset it takes to really hit those big goals.
So I think when it comes to just kind of the mindset, and like you said, I think you touched upon vision. So vision absolutely is incredibly important. And so to me, I think that's, one of the fundamental things that you need. And let me explain. So for me, like when I came into this business, I didn't come into this for the money. I honestly, genuinely didn't. I didn't know that it would, be as lucrative as it is, but I genuinely came into this because I wanted to help others. I wanted to help others be the best versions of themselves, because I was tired of seeing so much depression in my emergency room. I was tired of seeing so many people stuck in their minds with self-limiting beliefs and not living to their full potential, and seeing it kind of manifest itself in preventative diseases that I see in my emergency room. And so for me, our mission as a company, ending the trend of obesity really speaks to me. That happens to be our mission as, with Team Beachbody. But, by 2050, 50% of our population is supposed to be obese. And that is a very scary statistic. And it's incredibly scary for me because I also know that 50%, if that means that if 50% of the people are obese, 50% of the population, a lot of them, if not all of them, but maybe 30 to 40% are going to be unproductive in what they could possibly do to their greatest capability. Because they're what comes with obesity is a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, a lot of self-loathing thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, and that does not allow someone to be productive in their life. It does not allow them to pursue the talents that God has given them. And so when I'm, that's what I think about when I am working hard and when I am pushing every single day to reach my goals for the month. And when I'm reaching out to people, I'm thinking about, who can I help, get through depression? Who can I help get through anxiety? Because that is really what we do as a company, as a complete team of Team Beachbody, is that we are helping people one person at a time, yes, with their fitness, but that's only the first step, And so for me, when I think about mindset, that's a vision and a mission that I can go to my deathbed with. That's because I know that's going to always be a problem. and I feel 100% confident and I stand behind it, and it's something that fuels me and something that speaks to my heart. And so for all of you, it may not be that, and that's okay. And it may be something more personal. It may be something where maybe you're tired of working your ass off and you're tired of working so much and you want more time with your children. Maybe you want to retire your family, your parents. Maybe you want to retire your husband. Maybe you want to do mission work. I have a lot of girls on my team who want to do mission work, and they want to go and spread the word of God and do all these things. And, but you need financial security for that. You need some financial independence. And so connecting your vision, with something that genuinely speaks to your heart is incredibly important when it comes to mindset. Another thing when it comes to mindset, which I think is super important, is that you need to leave your ego at the door. You need to realize that as a coach, you come into this business as a student first, right? All of us come into this as a student first. I don't care how much education you have. I don't care how much background, how much experience you have. None of you really come into this. And I'm not going to say none of you like 100%, but because maybe there's someone in here who's been in network marketing before, but this is such a unique type of business that it's understanding that you come in as a student, right? And so understanding that. And so when you come in understanding that, knowing that you need to come in ready to learn, and you need to come in coachable, understanding that Jace and myself and others, your sponsor coaches, they know what's best for you in terms of building this business. And so when they're telling you to do something or they're giving you advice, it's not to take it personally as criticism or to, let your ego stand, your pride stand still and say, I'm going to do this on my own and by myself and I'm not going to listen to anyone. You got to leave your ego at the door. And it's the same thing when it comes to posting on social media, right? So many people are afraid to be transparent. So many people are afraid to share. For what? What are you afraid of? Who are you afraid of offending? And who are you afraid of offending? Are you afraid of what other people are going to say about you? Are you fearful of, what others are going to say about you? Are you, notice everything's about you, right? Everything's about you. Nothing's about the other person. And this business is about helping the other person. And so realizing that you need to be transparent. You need to be willing to share your struggles, because that is so incredibly important. Our struggles are what allow us to reach other people and make us relatable to other people. This is, what I love about this business is that our struggles genuinely become such a unique feature of our story. And it's in a weird way, it allows what's happened to us to bring light and hope to others if we use it in the right way. If we use it to say, this is what's happened to me. This is how I've gotten through it. Now I want to help you as well. But if you don't share that, you're not going to find people who have that same story. And each and every single one of you has a tribe out there who needs you, who needs your story, who would benefit from your struggles, from your experience. But if you don't share and you're too prideful or you're too scared or you have too much fear to share it, they're never going to find you. And, people are going to be out there alone and they're going to feel like no one else is out there like them when you may be just like them. You may be the person that they're looking to look to in order so that they change their life. And so that's really important is kind of the leaving your ego at the door, being transparent, also making sure that you have vision, and then also making sure that you are doing your reps is what I call. It's basically saying, guys, at the end of the day, it takes 10,000 hours in order to master something. 10,000 hours. That's a long time. I spent 12 years getting into medicine, becoming a physician. A lot of you have spent a lot of hours at your job. So when a lot of coaches come in and they quit after 1 month, after 2 months, after 3 months, to me, that doesn't make sense because you haven't put in the time. You haven't put in the time to quit. And for us, our reps are our vital behaviors. That's what they are. For us, when you break it down, those are our reps that we need to master. They need to become us. When they have become you and you have mastered them, you're at least on the road to becoming a master in this. And it's still, I've been in this for 36 months. I'm not a master at this. Jace is not a master at this. We're still figuring it out. We're still learning to be more consistent. But understanding that, despite my schedules, guys, I've never missed a day. I've never missed a day of posting. I've never missed a day of inviting. It's that important. And if you want to have success in your business, remember, this is your business. It's not my business. It's not Jace's business. It's yours. you want to have success in your business, you have to have that same consistency, and you have to do your reps just like every single one of us. We have put in the time and we have put in the work, and we have that mindset of saying, okay, we need to put in our work, right? This success is not just going to happen. There's no elevator to success. You got to climb that mountain, just like every single one of us. And if you understand that mindset, you'll have a lot of success in this business.
I love that. I think that vision statement is so true. Like I 100% believe that people who are inconsistent are people who lack their vision. They don't know yet what they want. One of the reasons, and I totally agree with Steph, like I've never missed a day of posting or inviting, because you guys know, like my vision is very, very simple. It's very core to why I'm doing this. It's not something I have to recall or remember or write down. Like it's just part of who I am. So I think that, you know, if you can really pinpoint what that is for you, you don't have to struggle so much with the inconsistency, because you have purpose now. You have your vision, you have your push, you have your drive. For me, again, it's even more simple than Steph's. Like I literally, my goal is just to make people feel better once they've left me. That's it. If I can do that with every person that I touch, I've done my job. And so my drive is to consistently be able to do that and pay back this opportunity that I was given. So I love that. I think that vision will definitely lead to consistency. I love that she said never miss a day. I love how transparent she is. It's clear that that's why she has such a huge following, because she's real and she tells it how it is. And I love that. Like, I love all of those things. So I want to ask her the next question, which is, I want you to talk to them about your idea of delayed gratification.
Mm-hmm. So I think this is something that is super important in anything in life. And I think a lot of people ask me as a physician, do I regret, going through medical school now that I'm having success in this business? And without a doubt, without a hiccup, I say 100% no, I don't doubt it. I don't regret it at all, because it taught me that concept, which I think is so important in any business, or any endeavor that you're doing in order to be successful, which is delayed gratification. I worked 12 years going into $300,000 in debt, working towards a goal that was never guaranteed for me. Never guaranteed. Just because I got into medical school, just because I got into residency, doesn't mean that I was still going to finish at the end. The only reason why I finished is because of me, because I pushed myself and I believed in myself. But I had to work through those 12 years. I had to sacrifice so much of my time. There were so many events I couldn't go to. So many weddings that I missed, so many birthday parties that I missed. And those who are in healthcare know that. They know, when you have to, in healthcare is open 24/7. There is no weekends. When you're a nurse or you're a doctor, there are no weekends. And so you're always on. And so I had, so that concept of delayed gratification, which is where I knew that if I put in all this effort, all this hard work, it was going to pay off at the end. Mind you, I took 12 years to reach my physician job and my physician salary. And was it worth it? Heck yes, it was worth it. It was so worth it. I mean, the payoff, when I got my first check and I got my first, I cried, because I was just like, this is what this is about. It's, pushing through and being able to, it was so humbling for me. And so now we're here in this business, and I've taken that same concept and I've realized, no, I don't have to bust my butt for 12 years again to make this work for me, but I still need to put in that idea that I need to work hard for nothing in the beginning. Yes, a lot of times for nothing in the beginning. You're working hard, especially those first few months as coaching, maybe 6 to 8 months. You're working, you're posting daily. You're not seeing those same results that that you would like, but keep posting, keep growing, keep staying consistent, because there are so many people watching you. And so that the idea of delayed gratification, that's where that stems from. That idea that, no, it's not going to happen in a month. It's not going to happen in 3 months, but be here a year from now. I always tell my coaches, be here a year from now. And then when that year goes up, be here another year from now, and keep pushing every single day, as hard as you've been pushing, and obviously that's why it's so incredibly important that you love what you do. And that's, I was listening to my recent personal development, The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster by Darren Hardy, which is a fantastic book for leadership. I would just say, if you haven't read it, it's great. And it just talks a lot about You think about Steve Jobs, he literally, worked till he died, because of cancer. You think about all these pro athlete coaches who will work all the way through retirement and past retirement just to be in the, in the game, at the field. They're literally working until they die. Why? Because they love it. They love it so much. And so understanding that, because this business, you have to love what you're doing. And so that's why I genuinely love, posting. I love being inspiring to others. I love lifting people up. I love being that devil's advocate of why can't you accomplish this? I will be really upfront with people. I'm very upfront with people. And it's just kind of how I am. And so that's kind of my kind of say on delayed gratification.
I love that. I think it's good. It's, and again, she's very upfront with people, but it comes from a good place and her relationships are built. So she can project that tough love and people take it and run with it. And it's not, anything that should be demotivating or looked at as hard criticism. It's, again, like she said, when your coach tells you something to do, it's usually because in their experience, it's something that helped them tremendously. They wouldn't tell you to do something unless there was a significant reason why. And I'm going to throw her like a curveball question that I didn't tell her about before. But I think it's important because I think a lot of coaches look at like Rank and Success Club and Elite and all of these things as income. I think they look at it as like you're doing those things so that you can improve your income. But Steph is not motivated by that. Right? And a lot of people aren't motivated by that. So it's hard for them to set those business goals, right? Because they think that if I push for Rank, if I push for Success Club, if I push for all these things, then I'm chasing the income. And my team should know pretty well that that's not the case. But I just wanted to get her perspective on that, because from your perspective, if you aren't motivated by income, then why do you push for Rank and Elite and all of these big goals still? Like, what does it mean to you? If it's not to create income, what are you doing it for?
Well, number one, I think for my own knowing myself and knowing my personality, I'm very driven by challenges, and I'm very driven by pushing myself to be excellent at what I do. And so I cannot sit back and be mediocre. I cannot sit back and half-ass what I do. That's just not me. I actually am incredibly unhappy when I'm not giving my 100% best. And so when I think about, this business, knowing that if I want to reach more people, right? And if I want to help more people, and if I want to inspire my team that's coming behind me, I need to lead that pack. And even if I'm not driven by finances, I know that seeing me at Diamond and Star Diamond is incredibly, just inspiring for my team. And it lets them know that it's capable if I can do it, because they've seen where I've come from. And they see, my hard work, and they see my, basically all the steps that I've taken, because I share that with them. And so for me, I'm more motivated by leading my team and showing them what's possible, knowing that in order to do that, I can't stay at Emerald. No. I can't do that. I can't stay at, I have to keep moving. I can't just stay at Diamond. I need to keep advancing. And so that's, for me, when I'm thinking about it and I'm pushing for Rank, it's because of them. I'm genuinely thinking of my coaches, and my coaches who are driven by finances, knowing that if they are driven by finances, they need that Rank. They need to keep pushing. They need to keep growing. And I need to keep leading them to that. Because if I stop, a lot of them will stop. Obviously, of course, that shouldn't be the case, right? Because it's their business and they should keep going without me. But, knowing that this is still a team, like, I know that if I were to stop, that, a lot of the team would stop. That's just kind of how it is. I know my team, and so, yes, there are some who would, possibly push past me, but that's one of the main reasons why, I'm kind of driven by the Rank.
I love that. And I think that's so true. That's something I've been talking a lot about with my coaches specifically. Just, I think that it's just like personal development. You don't always do it just for you. You put the tools in your belt so that you have things in your tool belt to help people when they have something that you've never dealt with, but you do now have experience with, or a tool to help them through it, because you did the development, you did the research, you did what it took to be able to help that person when they come to you. I don't think that, you know, reaching business goals is any different than that. As a leader, I need to know what happens to your business at a diamond level, at a star diamond level. If you hit Success Club for 12 months, what income levels you can reach. Like, I need to do the 10,000 hours of work to become the expert in that category so that when somebody comes to me, I can help them do it. You know, and I love that because that's so in line with how I work. And I know that if I can do all of those things first, then I personally will know how to better help people.
Yeah. And I want to add, oh,
no, go ahead.
No, I said I want to add to that because honestly, and Jace, I don't know if you kind of think like this too, but when I come across an obstacle in the business, or if I come across kind of some of the hardships in the business, just because of, as you, like I said, guys, you know, this business can, as it grows, more other, you know, other obstacles come up and other things come up, and kind of similar to what you're saying, you know, I always think of my team. Like when I'm feeling really down and I'm having a lot of struggles, I personally think of my team because I look to say, how can I better equip them so that they, you know, when they reach this point, yes, there's certain things I'm not going to be able to protect them from. And that's a fact. And I'm very transparent with my coaches about that, where there are certain parts of this business that you're going to have to go through it, the ups and downs, just like I did. But how can I set proper expectations, right, within them through my experience of rising through the ranks, using that experience to then guide them and set proper expectations and set proper development, possibly in terms of leadership, knowing my coaches and knowing what they're going to need in order to be successful at this level.
I agree. I think, you know, and I think especially you guys, and this is a great lesson for all of you that have a coach underneath you now, it's important for them to see when you're uncomfortable. Like when you set a big goal and it makes you really uncomfortable, it's good for them to see that because then they see you push through it. And they learn that just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're done. I think that so much of our business is learning to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. When I am comfortable, I'm like, that's what makes me uncomfortable now. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing something. But it's so true. Your greatest obstacle at any level in this business is always going to be yourself. It just is. It is always going to be yourself. And that's why personal development is so critical, because it's what gets you past every obstacle at every level. And the instant you stop doing that, you stop. Everything stops. Your mindset, your drive, your work ethic, your motivation, your team, your coaches, everything. And I personally feel like if I can't get out of my own way, I can't ask you to. So I think rank and all of that stuff is just another one of those things. People don't tackle it because it makes them uncomfortable, because it makes you sort of analyze. It makes you really have to decide, can I do this? Will I do this? You know, kind of thing. And you have to make the choice and do it with that unbreakable mindset that Steph was talking about. So, leading into the next couple questions, and then I'll open it up and then we'll let you go. What are you the most proud of with your business to date?
I would say speaking at the New Leadership Conference was definitely a very proud moment for me. You know, having that opportunity, which then further led to me being asked to be on the Success Club video, or the Super Saturday video, I'm sorry. And the reason being is just because you know, as a minority, I'm a minority in this, you know, overall, I'm of Latin background. And so just being able to be on stage and coming, you know, after the stage, you know, after being on stage and walking, having girls come up to me and just say how proud they were to see a Latin woman on stage was just incredibly, you know, just such an incredible feeling for me. And just kind of leading the way in that way of, you know, for I see the what? Yeah. For, you know, just for other minorities, honestly, you know, for other Latin African Americans, just showing them, you know, we need more representation in our leadership. And so that was incredibly important, you know, that was an incredible, just important day for me.
I love that. And I want to relate that experience too, because do you think that you would have had that opportunity if you had just decided to be an Emerald coach and like kind of half-ass your work ethic and just kind of like mosey on, you know, sometimes you're on, sometimes you're off because you're doing, you know, your residency and all this other stuff. Like those kinds of opportunities don't come by half-assing your work ethic. Like they just don't. But what's cool about it, you guys, and like I talk about all the time, sometimes your accomplishments and what you strive to do is just so you can build a bigger platform. Like that's what you're trying to do so you can help more people. And I think that's exactly what she was able to do, especially for that minority group of people that was like, oh my gosh, we got a sister on our team who's like rooting for us. But it's awesome. And now she's number 2 in the Latino market, which is amazing. And I think, I mean, I had a conversation with one of my girls the other day whose husband told her that she'd never make it because of her background and her ethnicity. And I just wanted to die because it's just not true, you know? So I love that. That speaks to me a lot right now. But okay, so last thing, and then I'll let you guys ask questions if you have any. You can post them into the chat. But I wanted you to talk about your favorite coaching tool or app, or what's one of your favorite things that makes your life easier as a coach?
So number 1, I use Streak for my follow-up. And so that has been not a lifesaver, but that has definitely been the organizational tool that has really impacted me. So for a long time, I am a very disorganized person. I'll be honest. And I'm kind of all over the place. It speaks to me being in the ER and like having constant stimuli coming to me. But for a long time, I could not figure out how I was going to follow up with people. I tried paper. I did not like Excel spreadsheets. I just didn't, I didn't like Google Docs. And I tried everything. I had a notebook, and it wasn't until Streak that I found a system that worked for me. And so that is my favorite probably coaching tool. I use it and it helps most with follow-ups, right? So basically transitioning a lot of my conversations from Facebook Messenger to email. And also for me, it also brought down a lot of my anxiety because I started to get a lot of anxiety when I woke up and I had like 30 messages on my phone. And that was a lot of anxiety to me. And it's the same thing kind of with my coaches, like when they start, privately messaging me, that's why I kind of redirect. And I think if you're going to ask me about balance, but that was something I was going to talk about when it came to balance. But definitely Streak has been my greatest tool in terms of following up.
So she talked about Streak on the leadership call with Josh the other day, and I was like, what's Streak? I don't know what that is. So I actually asked her for her video, and she gave me her training video on it. So I was going to ask her if I could share it in our group because I think that would be amazing.
Yes.
And then I will have to make a video about it. So
there's 2 great videos. So I have a video and Brooke Dorset has a video. So Jace, you should not have to make a video at all. So,
the less videos I can make, the better.
Pass it along.
Awesome. So I'll post that for you guys so that you can kind of learn about that tool because it's awesome. I did want to ask you one other question because I know a lot of people like to ask coaches this, which is, what do your challenge groups look like? Do you have like one big accountability group? Do you run like a lot of challenge groups? How do you organize your customers?
Yeah. So use this as my example that I'm almost 3 years in and I still feel like I don't have a good system. So use this as I'm still trying to learn through this. So for a long time, and I will say for a long time, I've been running just a running challenge group. And so I am always adding people to that group. And that's how I've kind of always run my challenge groups. I tried to start and stop in the beginning and it didn't work for me at that time. Now I'm 3 years, almost 3 years in, and I am I want to try again I'm going to keep the group that I have open. I'm going to keep that open for veteran coaches. And then I'm going to try to put myself on a schedule. Cause again, everything's about bettering my business at every expense, at every level, trying to see how can I improve. And I know that this is an area that I need to improve upon. And so I know I'm going to be going towards trying to do having a start date and then having an end date. And I'm going to try that with June again. So for the last 7-8 months, I've just been running a running challenge group and adding challenges to it. I also predominantly bring on coaches. I don't bring on a lot of challengers first. Everyone kind of comes on as a coach. And so I started switching from that. So like all of 2015, I brought in probably predominantly coaches, coaching accounts. And then this year I started to take another second look at it, and I realized that there is a lot of benefit to having someone come in as a challenger, helping them get results, and then approaching them, through a sneak peek or through on week 3, or just having other avenues of trying to convert them. And so that's kind of been kind of my shift, where now I advertise for both. So all of 2015, I only advertised for coaching, really. And then now I've split my funds and how I grow for coaching and for challenge groups.
That's fascinating. See, she only invited for coaching.
Yeah. So all of last year, I only invited for coaching.
It's so interesting to hear how people do it. Don't you guys think that's fascinating? I'm like such like a get your customers in the door, but like a lot of coaches are moving to that. And I agree that it's beneficial, but I also like am a total wholehearted get your customer through the door, get them results so they can gain a testimony and then start coaching.
And I agree with you. I actually think you're more right than me. Just kind of in retrospect, but still, even if you bring someone in as that coaching, it's still helping them, is realizing that you're still treating them like a challenger,
right.
In those first 30 days. And so ideally that's how you should do it. And again, this is all through me, trial and error, right? Me failing forward as I talk. I preach that to my team, is that you need to fail forward. And so there's been a lot of things that I haven't done right, and just kind of in retrospect. And so, but definitely now I bring in both now. And that's why I know that I need to work on my challenge group. So don't feel like, oh my God, I don't know how to do a challenge group, that I can't be successful, because clearly that's not the case. You just need to be, very consistent in your mission and helping other people.
Well, and again, it just goes to show you guys that you just have to figure out what feels good to you. Like, it doesn't freaking matter what anyone else is doing. If it feels right to you and it fits your schedule, your personality, your heart, your vision, that's really what is so important. And that's what's going to make you successful. It has nothing to do with really how you're doing it, as long as you're getting it done, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting. And I just want to mention this because there are a lot of coaches who just recruit other coaches, and they're not organization leaders like Steph is. And that, you guys, speaks volumes for how she onboards her coaches and really takes care of her people, because you cannot reach that level in the leadership ladder without a very strong foundation. It's not an inflated kind of business where she signs up a bunch of discount people and then they fall off. Like, she is actively helping people. Even last year, if you think that was a mistake, it really wasn't, because you have the proof, right? The physical proof that your team is thriving and that you are finding people to help. And I think at the end of the day, again, regardless of how you get it done, as long as you're getting it done, right? And you're treating the people that you care for and commit to the right way, you can reach your goals. It's just that, and I will tell you, the only way to the top is through failing. Mm-hmm. A fail and a fail and a fail. That's how you literally get to your ultimate goal. Jess said, I just wanted to read her comment. She said, Steph, you are awesome. As a nurse, I'm totally feeling you and what you're saying. Thank you so much. I enjoy hearing your no excuse attitude. I realize that I need to be more like that with me first, and with my challengers second. Great energy. Mm-hmm. I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's just that it's just tough love. It's just being passionate about what you're doing. And again, I think that comes down to vision. Don't you think, like Steph, if you have a really strong vision, you can drive it. Right. It's having a strong vision and being very confident in yourself and having belief, and really knowing what you're doing. Like, at the end of the day, anyone can approach me from any other company and can go head to head with me. I stand 150% behind my products. I stand 150% behind our company and what we do. And I have a conviction behind it. And so when you have that, when you have that belief and that confidence, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. So it's just, just kind of keeping that in mind. And I'm a big believer that, like, people come to us for help. They're not coming to us for us to be their best friend and tell them what they want to hear.
And so I am a firm believer of just being very honest. And you tell people how, setting expectations from the very beginning, letting them know what, this is how, I'm going to always be very honest with you, very upfront with you. And let me tell you, I used to do that. I don't say it as much anymore, but I used to say it a lot in the beginning when I was still, because remember, if you're a newer coach first year, in your first year, you're still developing a lot of your kind of, your momentum in your business, and you're still, developing your trust in your audience. And so I've reached the point, same thing like Jace, where I've reached a point in my career where people come to me and they know more about me because they've been following me for so long. I have the test of time and consistency behind me. But just kind of, I forgot where I was going with this. I completely see, this is where my mind is like 50,000 things all at once. Shoot, I forgot. But if you keep talking, say something and I'll remember.
No, I think it just really comes back to your vision. We were just talking about how, if you've got that really strong vision, you're able to sort of talk to people in a different way just right. Because, and like she said, like, I love how you just put that. I literally can't even remember how you just put it. It's because we're both on the reset. I'm telling you guys, it seems weird, but I swear to you that is what is going on. Like, it just makes your brain like this. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. Great content.
I was going to say, because she wanted to be more strong. So I am very upfront with my audience, and the same thing with my customers. And like, and I'm just very blunt. Like, I don't know. And I was going to say is that in the beginning, I had a lot of people who were just like, thank you so much for being so honest with me and for telling me how it is. And that shocked me, where I was like, wow, like, this is actually kind of pretty sad that you don't have people around you who are honest with you, right? And at the end of the day, so realizing that, don't be afraid to be upfront. Don't be afraid to set expectations. Don't be afraid to be hard on people. Because like Jace was saying, when I'm hard on people, I do it out of love, like genuine love. Like, they tell me they want to be successful. I'm going to help you be successful. I'm trying to help this person be a CEO of their business. I cannot be, sugaring, making things, super sweet. And no, they need to have tough skin, right? They need to have that tough layer of skin that we need to develop, and that takes, time, and they need that tough love. It's incredibly important because this, in this business, you need that tough skin. You need to be able to it's like a kid, think of like football, you knock the kid down and they get back up, and you knock them down again and you get back up. It's the same idea. You need to be able to get right back up. And so don't be afraid to be tough on people.
Yeah, I agree. And I also will say, you guys, that most of the time, the most passionate coaches out there are the ones that are probably falling apart the most times behind the scenes. Like, literally, like I've told you guys 1,000 times, like, I literally rack my brain at night thinking, how can I help more people? Like, that's what I lose sleep over. And I think when you kind of reach that place with your vision and you really, like, you think we're tough on you, think how tough we are on ourselves. Like,
and like, you have your husband, like I have Luke, like, they see the worst of it, like, they see the tears, they see the screaming, they see that, like, I don't know, that's me. They've seen those times when you are just so emotional, you've given so much, and you're racking, like you said, you're racking your brain, you're trying to figure out what more do I need to do? Like, I just recently sent a bunch of, messages out to some of my coaches that are really inactive, just asking them, like, what more? And that's one thing, I'm always asking for feedback. I'm always asking, like, what more can I be doing? What more can I be doing? What more can I give you so that you can be more successful? And I genuinely feel like I fail people because I see other coaches, and obviously this is where the comparison thing comes in, right? And this is where you have to always, and they're always just like, no, Stephanie, you're doing everything fine. You've given us all the resources that we have. It's just up to us to implement it. And I didn't implement it. I didn't, and so I think, for me and my team, I do my best to lead by example. I do my best to, and that talks about the ranking, that talks about Success Club, making it always a non-negotiable. And I always, do my best to be very present on my team page. We also have team calls just like this. And I really, just talk to that because it's just so incredibly important.
Yeah. And again, the comparison thing, I'll let you go after this, but the comparison thing is real. Like, it's even harder when you're in a higher level because you're in a pool of a lot more people, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And I think you get the most overwhelmed when you realize that no matter how good you are, there's always something else. There's always someone better. There's always another tool that you didn't know about. There's always somebody doing something more creative or innovative or whatever. And I think that's why it's so important to just really know yourself and what you ultimately want. Because again, at the end of the day, like if you're struggling with comparison, but you're also struggling with what you're doing here, that will never work.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a good point. I mean, I never really thought of it like that, but that's a fantastic point.
Yeah, like if you have a plan, right? And you've got like your end point and your vision and the tasks that need to happen in order to get there, guys, that will see you through almost every obstacle because your vision is stronger than anything else. It really is. And it needs to be if it's not, you know? And that doesn't mean, again, like Steph said, it doesn't need to be some like world changing, like I'm going to cure cancer. Mine is to make people better when they leave me. Mm-hmm. Simple. It doesn't have to be anything gigantic. It just needs to be something that really, really speaks to your heart and that you are willing to fight for. Mm-hmm. Do any of you guys have any other questions for Steph before I let her go? I kept her so long and she's probably so tired. Well, I just want you to know how grateful I am for you for doing this because I think you're amazing and it's been so awesome to get to know you. And I am very excited that you got to talk to our team because it's really nice to have another coach who is a freak like I am. It's like, wah! And I'm not the only one. So they're all used to that kind of stuff. And your energy is something that they definitely are used to. And it's very much appreciated. So we love you. And I'll share your streak video.
Yeah, streak is really important. So make sure you share that. It's a great way to follow up.
I will share that. So we will let you guys go. Thanks for hopping on and giving us your time. I love you. I'll talk to you next week.
Bye.